Hey, everybody. Welcome to edition 59, I believe, of Join Orange Slice with Jeff and Ian, the trade deadline edition this week. We talk about a lot of different players around the league, and it's very exciting as usual. Enjoy.
Oh, well, hello for the third time today, Jeff. It is Monday. This will come out Tuesday. We did a live orange slices, but we had some interesting problems with the internet. And now we're back recording. So let's discuss the old trade transactions that happened today, otherwise known as the trannies.
That's right. Let's discuss what we already discussed. Yeah.
Love it.
You might want to add on to that. Transactions.
Oh, transactions. Yeah, I don't want to.
Yes.
Yeah. Some things have happened since we last talked. Winnipeg and Los Angeles have made a trade for two names. I didn't recognize either of them. I don't know if you recognize either of these names. Markus Philips and for Nelson Nogier.
Right. Yeah, I don't know. Obviously, there was something going on with those players. Maybe could be a number of things. Either they might have rights for them, they might not be signed with these particular teams. They might see that, neither player might be, they call it boxed in, but maybe they're already strong at that position. So they move the player for a player, that can replace them at another position they're not as strong at. So we'll have to wait and see what happens with those two young guys. But it was a pretty active trade deadline, and even before, things kind of got heated up this year. So it was good to see.
It was quite the rumor mill this year that it's going to be exciting. Everybody's selling, and then really it was pretty much nobody turned into a huge seller and nobody turned into a huge buyer, right?
Well, I think there's some teams that were definitely aggressive out there.
Aggressive,
Florida,
aggressive, and being crazy purchasing. Like the teams that bought were pretty much the teams that we expected to buy. Nobody like Dallas could have been one that stepped up and really started purchasing a lot of things, and they didn't. And same with Colorado, really didn't purchase that much for how much room they have.
Right. I mean, they called it an arms race in the East, where these guys kind of kept adding. Every team, like Boston added, Florida, Tampa, Carolina added at the deadline. The Rangers added. So, I mean, these guys all added a lot of depth pieces, but some really important pieces. And I just think it's amazing how far hockey's come. That Florida was a preferred destination for Claude Giroux to go down to after he played his 1,000th game for the Flyers the other night.
Right.
I thought that was pretty amazing. Like, I was watching he got interviewed this afternoon, and it was like, Florida's a hard team to play against. I like the way they play. I don't know. It just kind of it's kind of good. I mean, there's been some teams that have really been on the bottom side of the tire for a long time, and Florida was kind of one of those teams. It's kind of nice to see them come up and be one of the teams that are exciting to watch and people are talking about.
That's a very funny way to describe bottom side of the tire.
Yeah.
Bottom.
Well, you're going to end up on the bottom of it at some point.
At some point, yeah. I never thought about it. What you said was that Giroux played in that division, that conference, and got to see all those teams and could have a good say in, they're going to go far, I want to go with them. So obviously he really respects what Florida's got going on.
Yeah, I think one of the things, like when you see a really good player and they're doing really well in a specific place, and for Giroux, it was Philly for all these years. Well, he's played in that Eastern Conference forever. He knows all those teams really well. And for the fact that he said, yeah, he kind of picked his poison. He wanted to go to Florida, which kind of limits the return that maybe his team could have gotten back, because evidently Colorado was in there too. But it says something. And, if you've ever been down to where the Florida Panthers play, it's not the most inviting place in the world because right behind it's a swamp, and then it's
Mhm.
just kind of a community. So if they can ever get something going, downtown Fort Lauderdale, say, that would be, or even Miami, that would be amazing. But it struck me that here's a guy that's 1,000 games in the league and played for Team Canada, wanting to go to Florida, and
Mhm.
that's kind of what the salary cap was all about, I guess. And of course, not a bad place to go and live, right? Florida, but
You're doing okay,
interesting.
yeah.
And he knows all the opponents he's going to face because he's faced them many times over the years. So it's
Right.
not like he's going to come out west where he only sees these guys once or twice a year. I think it's a good move. So
And it's
so
just what Florida
Florida, and
needs.
then they got Sherrod as well.
Just what Florida needs is another Quebec license plate driving down around there.
Mhm. That's right. And for those of you from out west that maybe haven't spent much time in Florida, I haven't been down there in a couple of years, but that's the first thing you notice. Hey, there's a lot of New York plates down here, and there's lots of Quebec plates down there. So
And
you'll love it.
they complain about the Quebec license plates. Oh, those people that make lefts where they're not supposed to. That's
Yeah.
what everybody's known for in Florida. The Quebecers, they took the left when they should not. Yeah, I thought good for him. And they kept 50% of his wage. Is that how much they kept in Philadelphia?
Yeah, they had to do a certain mathematical equation to get Florida compliant under the cap. So that's what happened. But what's interesting is if you look at what they, so maybe they didn't give, young Owen Tippett's a really good young player. Um, they gave up some first and some more stuff to get Sherrod. But if you look at what Florida did, they kind of got guys that are going to play on the top end of their lineup. You
Right.
expect Sherrod to play against the other team's top players. You expect Giroux to be one of your offensive top guys, top three player on that team. But if you look at what Tampa did, they got some complementary pieces. They went and tried to fix their depth on their third line with Nick Paul and Brendan Hagel. Carolina got Max Domi. I'm guessing he could slot anywhere in their lineup, but I'm guessing maybe to start top 9, maybe third.
Mhm.
New York did the same thing with the Rangers. So Colorado did the same thing. So it was kind of cool to see, a team like Florida go for the top end guys. And I guess a guy like Rakell, who Pittsburgh's going to get, is going to end up playing in their top 6 along with Toffoli in Calgary. So it's kind of interesting. Some teams are trying to tweak the bottom of their lineup. Some teams are trying to tweak the top of it. And
Right.
we're just trying to tweak each other.
We're just trying to make each other snap. Hey, what did Ekblad do? I read that he was on long-term
Oh,
disability.
hey,
And he's off. He's
there's
down.
my roof. Hey, there's my roof. I got my phone.
You just
What a
Ekblad.
day.
You just
I
Ekbladed.
just, yeah, I tried to show it to you in real time. I didn't even know. Hey, that was my roof. It's been a rough day for me and my phone and the internet, but we're here. Ekblad got tangled up with one of his players. I think it might have been Barkov the other night, and
Mhm.
Fowler in Anaheim. And it was a really innocent looking play, but 3 of them kind of collided, and Ekblad looks like he did something to his obviously a lower body injury, but looks like a ankle or a knee. And now they put him on long-term injury today. So the chances of seeing him before the playoffs are pretty remote.
Is that what he's struggled with? Is it his knee that he's been struggling with all this time? Is that what he deals with? Because he's been hurt quite a bit, right?
Yeah, he's had his fair share of injuries. I couldn't pinpoint one thing or the other. I think he might have had some
But you
concussion
know that.
issues a couple of years ago. So,
Mm.
I mean, there you go. There's their top defenseman, and he's out. So, the salary cap conspiracy theorists can go to work on that one. But I kind of compare that to the same thing that Vegas is dealing with Stone. People thought Stone went out, so yeah, I go back in the lineup, and then all of a sudden Vegas just went in the tank. So
Right.
it looked pretty serious the other night. He couldn't even walk on his legs.
Guys,
So
guys don't want to sit. It's their horse, their thoroughbreds. They want to be running. So when these conspiracy guys come up with this, there's no way you can just push a guy off to the side. It's like telling a 15-year-old boy not to get a boner at the dance. You want to that's what you want to do. So I can't stand it when people get all crazy like that. Tyler Motte to the New York Rangers, I think he really brings some grit to that team, even though they're already pretty gritty to begin with, you know, with Reeves and stuff there. But Mott was always fun to watch with the Canucks. Maybe not. Maybe frozen.
There, just for those of you that know, that's the elephant in the room for Ian today, because I can't believe Vancouver only got a fourth for Mott. And actually, I really like the player, and they also, the Rangers did some nice wheeling and dealing.
Well,
they also picked up Andrew Copp from and Copp and well, hang on. Okay. Copp and Mott played together at the University of Michigan. So don't be surprised you don't see them on the same line, and you might see them play. I think Copp might play top 9, but if you move Copp down a bit, you might see those two play with Reeves and just come at you all night long. Like, you know how effective Carrier was in Vegas with Reeves. Mott's, you know, a really similar player. And I think the fans will love him immediately in New York.
I think so as well. My one that I'm fired up about, you keep saying that one. It was when Toronto, Travis Dermott went to Vancouver for a 3rd round pick, and Travis Dermott was a 3rd round pick. So my thing was, why wouldn't you try to get? Why wouldn't you just stay where you're at? Go into the draft and get yourself a fresh face instead of somebody that's been in the league for 5 years and really isn't working out the way they expected him to.
Well, again, you have a young guy here who's in Toronto playing behind Riley, he's a left-hand shot, he'd play behind Muzzin in that lineup. I mean, to me, you don't know if that 3rd round pick's ever going to turn out. This kid's a 3rd rounder, who's already playing in the NHL. So give him a chance. You move Hamonic and $3 million of his cap hit out.
That wasn't part of the Hamonic deal. That was Hamonic went to Ottawa.
Right. And then they got a 3rd rounder back, and they traded the 3rd rounder to Toronto for Dermott.
You got me. All right, you got me.
Okay. But you back this up a bit, like people always get all fired up about the moves their team makes. Like it's not, you move Hamonic out and $3 million a year. Ottawa takes him. Okay, you know, he's had his issues. When he's healthy, he's a serviceable defenseman. Okay, right. So you lose a little bit of a bigger, maybe a little bit more grit there, but then you move a 3rd out for a guy that's already playing in your league. And Vancouver's depth on D, it needs some help. Okay, so Dermott will come in. He'll play. You got Hughes playing with Shen. It's a really nice pair. You maybe move him in with Myers, Dermott and Myers.
That's what's up.
And then you've got Brad Hunt and trying to think. I just watched Vancouver last night. But anyways, you got a young kid that was playing in the media market. Toronto is under the big glare. He can skate. He's got some upside, and you know you need to have NHL defensemen in your lineup. So Vancouver is not ready to bring their young guys up from the farm yet to plug in. So I think this is a good guy to take a chance on. And you know what? A 3rd rounder is exactly that. It's just a 3rd rounder. You don't know what you're going to get out of them. Travis Dermott already got some experience in the league and a fresh start in Vancouver.
Fresh start in Vancouver, and Jeff's favorite player on the Vancouver Canucks. I said, what's his face going to? He went to Ottawa. I like the way I call him. What's his face? After we just talked about him, and I'm blanking on Hamonic. Just really didn't turn out in Vancouver the way he had. Carried a lot of baggage with him off the ice. So I think probably the best thing for him to do is move along and try to figure things out, and going out east and where nobody knew him, because he did come from so close, Calgary, and he came at the same time as we lost big names to Calgary, and it was kind of like tit for tat, but it didn't really work out. So good luck to him.
Yeah, he's a guy that he came from the Islanders. They made a big splash to get him in Calgary, and he wanted to be out west, closer to his family. And I think the whole COVID thing, I think he had a child that might have been a little bit immune compromised. I know that was a big thing around him, and I just don't know if he's really been able to focus on the game of hockey maybe as much as he'd like to. There's a lot of other stuff going on. I don't know if trading him to Ottawa is going to help that, but
Gonna help Vancouver.
We'll find out. And it's unfortunate, but that's the way it goes in the business. You move from one place to the other, and they don't really care sometimes at all about what's going on in your personal life. They just care about their team and their business. And so Vancouver had him for a couple of years, and now they've moved him on.
Yeah, interesting. Let's go to who are we going to go to next? We're going to go to Dallas. Dallas making an interesting move. They picked up a goaltender. And I didn't really I did a little bit of research on it, but couldn't really figure out what the point of getting another goaltender was, unless they just really, really like a lot of goaltenders on their team. Do you have any clue why they would have done that? Or would you just like to freeze up and just? I like the way your eyes.
Ben Bishop. Okay, so they had Ben Bishop.
You were frozen. You were frozen. Yeah, you're frozen, and your eyes were closed. Your eyes were closed, and it looked like you were disgusted in what I had to say.
No, I don't like some of your questions, but I like that one. They lead the league in goalies in Dallas. There's no question. My old teammate Jimmy Nell, he was a right winger. I don't know why he likes goalies so much, but
he loves them.
I think
he's got a fetish.
Okay, there's no question. Ottinger's their number one guy. Okay, so Jake Ottinger's their guy. I'm not sure what's going on with Braden Holtby. They honored him the other night.
Great.
But they honored him the other night in Washington, his first game back, but he was in street clothes. So I don't know if he's hurt or what's going on there.
Well, then he wasn't. Why would they honor him if he's not really playing? Like that's
I don't know. Who knows when he's going to come back through there? Who knows, right? So they got that out of the way. But Hudobin, I believe, is out for the year, and then Ben Bishop retired. So I guess they had four, and then they basically had one in Ottinger. So they got Wedgewood out of Arizona, who I think there's another guy that they could plug in and they could get some good games out of him. But yeah, Dallas goaltending situation has definitely been very interesting this year. And but there's no question Ottinger is their number one guy they want to go forward with. It's just a matter of who's going to be the tandem, who's going to be the partner with them in that, and that'll be determined.
I thought LA getting Troy Stecher for a 7th round pick in 2022 was a good deal. I think Stecher, he was great 2 years ago in the bubble, when they're in the bubble for Vancouver. He's not a huge guy, but he plays like he's a huge guy. I haven't really noticed how his career went in Detroit. Was he doing fairly well there, or was he just not fitting in? Or
yeah, I think they liked him in Detroit. He didn't play that much this year. Last year he played a bunch. I think they liked him, but I think this is a situation where you got a player going in one direction, a team going the other. I mean, Detroit's future is with their young guys. And you know what? Once in a while, these GMs might just want to help these guys out and move them out, and they get a 7th round pick for them. And who knows what that 7th round pick is going to turn out to be.
Does a player look?
Stecher ends up going to.
Does a player look at what they got for him? Like, would he look back and see 7th round pick and be disappointed?
Well, if he wants to get out of there, he probably wouldn't care if it was a bucket of steam. These guys really don't. So if you're a guy like Giroux or somebody that's getting the 1st round, one of their top prospects, you might look at it. But Yeah, I don't think Stecher really cares. I think he's just probably happy to get out to LA, back out to the Western Conference, with a team that's looks like they should make the playoffs unless they have some unexpected things happen to them in the next couple of weeks.
Right, they got to really shank it if they don't.
Yeah, and you know what? That's we're looking at LA's schedule. They do have a bit of a tough road ahead of them. They have quite a few road games, so it could be white knuckle right there to get them, and that's probably why they wanted to get Stecher for some depth and a guy with some playoff experience.
Here's something that really interested me. Arizona signed Vejmelka,
Yep.
8.75 for 3 years. I'm just like, wow.
Yeah.
Can you afford anything else? And 5,000 people with 5,000 people showing up to your games? Have you spent your whole budget? Have you blown it on one guy? Like, that was an interesting signing today. Now you're frozen again. Quit moving.
He's come in there a bit light. Yeah. Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now? Got me? You got me back?
He's frozen. Oh, he's getting new things. Yeah. Do you know that guy? I don't know that guy's background. I know. Yeah.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, he's Czech. He's 25 years old. He's only 1 year pro.
Yeah, right? I like him. I mean, if you watched him play, he's made a difference in Arizona. They had Darcy Kemper. They traded out for a first-round pick to Colorado. And then I forget who else they had in Arizona. They had some decent keepers. Oh, they had Ranta there too. And Ranta is in I think Tampa Bay now, backing up Vasilevsky. So they've had good goalies there.
But they struggled at the beginning of the year.
The doctor ordered. Yeah, but he's just come in recently to kind of right the ship for him. And don't forget, this guy's not 21 or 22; he's 25, so he does have some experience, right? So maybe a little bit more of a known entity.
He also maybe that's why they needed to get rid of Wedgewood, and Dallas was open. They were able to take him just to get rid of some salary or something.
It could be, I remember seeing the trade come through. I can't remember, what did they get for Wedgewood? Was it futures or was it?
They got for Wedgewood. 1 second. Everybody calm down. Hold on. Everybody, excitement time. Hello. Come on now. Here we go. There we go. Come on now. It's coming. It's almost there. Washington, Winnipeg, March 21st. No. Sorry, guys.
Okay. Well,
Dallas,
let's just say this.
Wedgewood, they got a conditional 4th round pick.
Okay. So I believe Arizona picked Wedgewood up off of waivers for nothing a month or two ago, a couple months ago. So
yes,
they're able to spin this goalie when they're not making the playoffs anyways. They're able to spin Wedgewood into a 4th round pick. And then I'm certain that if he plays a little bit in the playoffs or Dallas does anything, that could maybe move up to a 3rd. So, it's a win-win for the goalie and win for Arizona, who, like Seattle, is trying really hard to get picks and, try and build this thing. Very interesting.
Yeah. Yeah. It's an interesting game they got going on in Arizona. They're playing against the rest of the league and also against themselves at the same time, and trying to make a business work harder than anybody else in the league. I think they have the biggest struggle to make money in the whole league, that team. So they got a lot of pressure on their plate there in Arizona. And I kind of want it, we've talked about it before, and I've kind of been down on the Arizona hockey, but I kind of hope it works out there. I don't want to see it fail. I just get frustrated with how many chances they get. Sometimes you look at things and you go, well, why do they get chances? Like when they put another team in Atlanta, I was like, why would you put another team in Atlanta? Why do they deserve another chance when there's so many other teams that are towns that are deserving of chances? So that's how it's starting to feel with Arizona. I'm like, yeah, pull the plug. But now I've changed my mind. I kind of hope it works out.
Well, if you think about what's going to happen in Arizona, they're going to go play in a 5,000 seat building.
Good for them.
So someone's taking it in the shorts, right? On the financial end of that.
But are they because they are only getting 5,000 people?
Well,
You know,
no,
like
they're getting more than that down there. I mean, they're getting 8 to 12 depending on the visiting team. Like, okay,
yeah, but let's
here,
let's say this: they're getting 8 to 12. Maybe they're giving away 4,000. Like if you work it, like there's a work, you know,
right?
symbiotic. Like so, maybe now they're not giving tickets away and they're selling 5,000. Maybe it works out, but they're not paying out what they were paying out to put in a 16,000
Okay.
venue. You go ahead, freeze right there. Again, you were disgusted with my response. But you see what I'm saying?
Maybe I'm just taking screenshots of my face and then putting it up.
Yeah, that's what you do.
No, I agree with you. I am just saying that you got me. This new owner, who owns, I think, the Sahara Casino here in Vegas, is going to have to dig deeper into his pocket,
right,
before they. Oh, see, there you go. You get the dogs, man. But he's going to have to dig into his pockets.
Yeah.
Before they get any further here, right?
Mm-hmm.
They're not going to make money there for a long time.
Yeah.
Am I roboting still? I don't know.
No, you're not roboting. It's slowed down a little bit. So yeah, it's something else is running on the on your internet right now. It's slowing down a little bit.
Yeah, who knows what it is? But we're gonna try for a new phone and a new modem for next week. We'll see if we can make it.
I love it. I love it.
All right.
Is there any other teams you want to talk about?
I just think the a lot of the good teams tried to fill their bottom six. Kind of their depth. Colorado, Calgary, the Rangers, Tampa Bay. They made some moves. Actually, a team we didn't talk about too much, but I like some of the moves that Winnipeg made. They got Mason Appleton back. They got Zach Sanford in from Ottawa. They lost Copp, but they got a couple second rounders, which is kind of nice for them.
Mm-hmm.
I don't mind what they did. I liked I really like what Anaheim's doing. Verbeek's gone in there. He's moved some guys out. He's getting some draft capital back. You got Dadonov from the Knights today, kind of, replaced Rakell, who went to the Penguins. So,
how do you think he's going to do in Pittsburgh, Rakell?
Well, I think he'll do well there. I think he'll do really well. But then again, you've got a guy who played his whole career in the Western Conference, going to the Eastern Conference, and they lean on you a little bit more out there, right? It's not as free flowing a game, but I'm sure he's just thrilled to be part of a good team because it's been a while since Anaheim's had any success, right? So he's probably, I think that's a great trade, and they snuck him out of there in front of some other teams. So look out for Pittsburgh. There's another team that plays with a tremendous amount of pace. I think he'll be reinvigorated there. Rakell will score some big goals for them. They got a lot of guys in that lineup that can that know how to play the right way and can score. So if their goaltending holds up in Pittsburgh and their D, they're gonna be a handful as it is. But they can keep the puck of their own net. They're gonna be a lot of trouble.
Yeah, those old pesky Pittsburgh Penguins. Oh, nobody's working.
Great city.
Nobody's working down at the steel mills. They're too busy going to the hockey games. So yeah, it's a great building too. That building. Yeah, I love it. Love it. Nobody got worse. I don't think any teams got worse though. I don't think anybody was like, oh, your cupboard's bare. Giordano, Pizza Hut, Giordano. Hey, is that take in pizza? No, it's Giordano. Oh my God, that's that deep dish pizza, Giordano. He's gonna change that back end in Toronto, which we've talked about, just leaving those goalies exposed and left them so exposed. They just left Mrazek on the waivers the other day. Yeah, that's gotta help out a lot in that town.
Well, there's two teams that went for players that are going to make a cultural difference in their organization. Number one is Toronto with Giordano that they got from Seattle, and Blackwood as well, the young forward, real gritty kind of energizer bunny kind of forward. But Giordano is going to help a lot on the ice, but way more in the room. And the other team that went for a cultural shakeup to bring a guy in that means all the world to the players is Minnesota got Fleury, and Flower is going to make a huge difference. And I think that might help push that team kind of up to a next level. Now, are they at the level of and Calgary and maybe even St. Louis right now? I don't know if they are, but they are a better team this afternoon than they were this morning with some of the acquisitions that they've made, namely Marc-Andre Fleury.
You know what? Also, which is basically the culture is when they trade for a guy like Fleury, you go, oh, we need to step it up because they think we're that good. So who knows? I guess you see it over the next. How many games are left in the season?
There's anywhere from 18 to 20, depending on the team.
Depending on how you feel.
That's right. Well, you got to figure Flower's probably going to play 12 to 14 games for Minnesota, and Talbot will play, if they got 20 left, he'll play 6 to 8. I don't think there's any question they're bringing Flower in to be their game one opening night playoff goalie. And, they're going to end up probably, well, they could end up, they're not going to get Colorado, but, who knows after that. But yeah, maybe they can get second, and then that pushes St. Louis down one. And if you're going to put me at, Bennington and Husso and St. Louis, Husso's kind of taking the number one job, but Flower's got all that experience, and he's playing a lot of big games the last few years in the playoffs, right? Last 4 years. So we'll see how it turns out, but happy to see him in the playoffs.
Do you think St. Louis runs into a problem the same as Vegas ran into with Fleury and Leonard with Husso and Bennington?
I don't know. I mean, Husso's definitely taken over the number one position, but Bennington's much younger than Fleury was too, and yeah, he's got a Stanley.
He's got a different attitude though,
but he's not as established as goalie. But he just hasn't. Yeah, he does. Attitude. But you know what? He's a little younger guy.
Fleury was happy, like smiles no matter what. Bennington's a little bit more annoyed if anybody else gets a spotlight. He thinks he thinks the world's against him. Whereas I don't think Fleury.
He's going to go in there.
Well, I'm just saying his attitude is more the world's against him, where Fleury's wasn't like that. So,
well,
what are you drinking? Milk?
Yeah, I was just thinking. You probably think that's milk, but guess what? It's boxed water, because boxed water is better. So I just fill it up, put it back in the.
Used water is better.
But I was just thinking, yeah, much better. You were probably thinking he needs some milk, but I just think those two players are, difference in age.
Right. Okay. What? I was saying you're drinking milk. Drinking milk, you need some calcium over there.
That's right. Had to come up and down the stairs a couple times.
Oh man,
the bones are getting a little sore, but. I don't
elderly gentleman hockey.
Two guys. That's right. That's right.
Well, we're starting to lose your internet, so we better get going before
tomorrow again. Perfect. Okay.
It's starting to freeze. Love to all. There's no shout outs this week. The shout outs will be next week when we shout out to iPhones from Apple and Verizon's wireless. But this week
I do have a shout out for you.
Oh, you do? Oh, sorry.
I'm going to shout out to all the guys that couldn't sleep and got traded on the trade deadline, because anybody that's lived through that, it's a pain in the rear end, and it's a real stressful time. So a shout out to all the guys that got dealt today. So,
okay, so you got traded. Let's finish with this story. You got traded at the deadline. So tell everybody all about you. You're in Edmonton. Is that where you're playing?
Yeah, I was in Cape Breton. I was in the American League team, and we were playing that night. And actually, a kind of a funny story, but in pregame skate that morning, I'd been traded already once that year, and so I was skating with Dan Curry, and we used to call him Cur Dog. And Cur Dog comes up to me and goes, "Hey Sharps, you think there's any way you get traded again today?" I go, "Not a chance." I go back home having something to eat for lunch, and I'm watching the ticker on the bottom, and I look and I go, "Is that my name?" And I saw it, but I didn't see who too. And then a minute or two later, when it came back around again, I go, "Well, I guess I'm not playing tonight because I just got traded." And then the phone rang, said, "Hey, we traded you. Good luck." I'm like, "Thank
So
you.
interesting that they.
Take care."
It's interesting that they love to say let the press know before they let the player know. That's something that maybe the league, like the players union, should be trying to, hey, change. The player gets to find out before you release it to the press.
Well, it's interesting that you see these names pop out here. Like this afternoon, I'll just use Dadnoff for an example in Vegas.
Mhm.
Okay. And I was watching the NHL Network and watching what was going on, but we'll just use his name. Dadnoff rumored to be on the move. And then 2-3 hours goes by, and I'm sure obviously he was informed somewhere in that period. Maybe he was informed before,
Maybe.
but maybe not, right? And
Yeah.
so uh I mean, you hear about it happening all the time with guys finding out through social media now or online with these leaks
Mm-hmm.
that they're getting moved, and so it goes out into the World Wide Web, and these guys are sitting there now. They don't know what to believe. Then the phone call comes later. So that stuff's been going on for a long time. And I was just thinking about Dadnoff today, whether he's sitting there watching the NHL Network after they're playing in Minnesota tonight, the Knights. Oh, and sees his name. Oh well, he's sitting in his
Hey guys.
room.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I guess I'm not playing tonight, or at least at the very least, something's up. So it kind of sucks when other people know what's going on in your world before you do. But that's kind of the way pro sports and a lot of things in life are. So
Yeah. That old interesting. Oh, hi, how are you? People trying not to make eye contact with you. Oh, hi.
Yeah. They know something about you you don't. Or know something you don't. So that
Where
kind
did
of sucks.
where did you go from Cape Breton to where?
So I was in Edmonton's organization. So I was in Cape Breton, went to Utica, New Jersey's organization of the AHL. Yeah.
Oh, that must have been fun.
Yeah, it was a blast. So, but it happens, right? That's part of the deal. And I just feel for guys around the trade deadline because I remember, how it was. And I personally think the NHL trade deadline should be 4 to 6 weeks sooner.
Mhm.
Let's just say 4. So let's say a month. I think that would be a better
I think it is.
situation.
I think we've talked about it before. I think making the teams gel a little bit longer and letting them become teams and yeah, no trade. You don't make trades. You don't make trades at Christmas time, and you should maybe even at Christmas time should be the last time you should be able to trade somebody just before Christmas.
Well, how much you're willing to risk, right? How good's your team? Where are you at? Oh, we got to see what the injury. Yeah, you got to see what's going on. So we don't know if we're going to have injuries. I just think it's too late in the season. But I will say this, and I don't know if I said it earlier, is I cannot believe the amount of movement in the NHL compared to the other professional sports leagues. NHL is insane.
It is the most, right?
There is. Oh, it's insane. It's like, hey, you better pack your suitcase because you might be on the move today. Like you look at all the players that were moved today, it's huge. And there's not another comparable. Like you might have some big trades in baseball, right, around the deadline. But
it's only like 2 or 3 teams in the playoffs during for baseball.
Yeah, it's nothing like hockey. So, anyways, that's all I got for you this week, Lord Bag. So, shout out to all those people that were on the trade deadline that got moved today. Some of it's for greener pastures and a better opportunity, and some of it's going to be really hard. Some of those players. So, we'll keep an eye on as many as we can.
And for me, my shout is to Traverse City Comedy Club. I'll be there in Traverse City this Friday and Saturday. That's right, Traverse City, Michigan. I'm coming to see you. Boom. Bye.
Love to all.
I forgot. Before we go anywhere, this show is brought to you by Super Deeker. Super Deeker. It's the hockey training system that takes you from a scrub to a superhero. Super Deeker is a proud sponsor of Around the Bag. You got one side of the Super Deeker, that's me, bad, and then you got the good side of the Super Deeker right over there, that's Jeff. So make sure you get it in your family, play with the kids, teach them how to stick handle, and then when they go to bed, turn it into a drinking game. That's right, Super Deeker. It's for the whole family. And use the code SLICES and get yourself a discount and some additional prizes. Super Deeker.
Hey, can I ask you a question before we
Yeah.
go? You did a good job with that, but like, are you two timing me because you said around the bag? So are you?
Did I say
is it
around the bag?
sponsor?
Ah,
Yeah.
son of a.
Hey, so they also
Oh,
sponsor Enjoying Orange Slices. With Jeff and
they
Ian.
sponsor both. They sponsor both. If you. Oh God! So man, one day it's gonna be Super Deeker, proud sponsors of Enjoying Orange Slices and my brain scan.
All right. Hey, you know they say things happen in threes, so I'm going to say this one more time, and we're going to leave. Love to all.
Love all.
Hey, everybody. Well, that wraps up another edition of Enjoying Orange Slices with Jeff and Ian. Not around the bag. It's Enjoying Orange Slices with Jeff and Ian. This week, Ian's in Traverse City at some comedy club I can't remember the name of, and I'm going to be at Verizon or Apple getting a new iPhone, and probably at Cox Communication getting a new modem for some internet. So hopefully number 60 is a big one for us. Have a great week. Bye.